Suddenly, Senator Ted Cruz, who has been campaigning and even bragging that he is not the Republican establishment, may now become the Republican establishment darling. Go figure, right? Senator Lindsey Graham, when he was running for president, had these very harsh words for Senator Cruz.
You're Republican and your choices is Donald Trump and Ted Cruz in a general election. It's the difference between poisoned or shot. You're still dead.
And cut to today where Senator Graham says he is now fundraising for his former rival.
I'm going to be doing a fundraiser with and for Senator Cruz. I think he's the best alternative to Donald Trump. He's certainly not my preference. Senator Cruz is not, but he's a reliable Republican conservative, of which I've had many differences with. I doubt Donald Trump's conservatism, and I think it'd be a disaster for the party. So I'm going to try to help raise money for Senator Cruz and the pro-Israel community.
Will more establishment Republicans turn to Senator Cruz? The on-the-record political panel is back. Karen, if this weren't so silly, I'd sort of be rolling my eyes about it. But I don't get this, is that now Senator Ted Cruz, who was the anti-establishment candidate, is the establishment candidate, and now many senators are embracing him who didn't like him.
Well, this makes number 2 Senate endorsements, but this is the weirdest endorsement in that it's not.
Well, it's not an endorsement. He's going to fundraise for him.
Well, well, and give me the distinction without.
I totally agree with you, but I'm just saying that's what they're saying.
But and then his rationale is not that Ted Cruz would make a good president. It's just basically Ted Cruz is the last thing standing between Donald Trump and the nomination, so I'm going to support him. It is. Again, I think, as I was saying before, we're into uncharted territory, and this was truly one of the strangest semi-endorsements that I've ever heard.
And what should Senator Ted Cruz say? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, he's fundraising for him. I mean, I think what you're going to hear from the Cruz campaign is we're happy for the help.
You know, don't you think, though, the American people are sitting at home saying, what happened? A little bit. I mean, like, you know, not to go back to beat a dead horse, but I think there should be a hearing on Garland so the American people can hear from him, and then the Senate can reject him. That's their right. But, I mean, the American people are sitting back and they're watching this campaign. They're seeing a guy who was running and saying, I'm not establishment. He's now embraced by the establishment, and he's happy to have it. And suddenly Donald Trump is the odd man out.
Seems to be a lot of chess going on here, a lot of political chess to figure out who is the best alternative that can win. Yeah. That too. I memean, it really seems like they are now so afraid that Donald Trump could end up being the figurehead of their party that, you know, Lindsey Graham will actually endorse Ted Cruz.
It's just amazing. I mean, I understand why the American people are furious and why they're getting angrier by the moment, and both parties.
And you know, this election started with disillusionment, and people, I mean, what people are angry about, you were saying, is that they don't believe anything coming out of Washington, and then they see these sorts of sort of strange shenanigans.
All right, panel, stand by for a second. Senator Marco Rubio is now out and about after Tuesday's stinging defeat in Florida. Here's what the senator, now former presidential candidate, just said about the very real possibility of a contested convention.
Perhaps, you know, Trump has gained enough delegates to kind of move closer in that direction, but there's still an open question about whether he gets to 1237. And we'll see as it plays out. I don't think that's the ideal outcome for the party. I think in an ideal world you have a nominee and people coalesce around the nominee and it gives you a stronger position in the general election. I don't believe Donald Trump will ever be able to do that.
I mean, if this goes to the convention, which I think a lot of reporters are kind of doing one of these because none of us have ever covered one, or a lot of us have never covered one. If Trump does not get that number of delegates, even if Ted Cruz has, you know, 800, you're going to see a lot of debate and horse trading, and it does weaken the eventual nominee if they don't get it, if they're not elected to be their party's nominee on the first ballot, because then it's a free-for-all. Anyone can vote for whoever they want.
But the calculation is going to be whether that is worse than in having Donald Trump at the top of the ticket. And a lot of establishment figures in the Republican Party think not only would he go down to a Goldwater-sized defeat, but that he could take the United States Senate with him and a lot of down-ballot races, too.
All right, let's get the viewers in at home on this. Now's your chance, viewers at home. On Twitter, would a brokered or contested convention rupture the GOP? Tweet yes or no using hashtag Greta. I'm going to show you your live Twitter votes throughout the show. Jackie, I think that if Donald Trump has 1,236, one shy, and he doesn't end up with the nominee, his supporters will not be voting in November. On the flip side, there are a lot of people who in the Republican Party say they will not vote for Donald Trump under any circumstance. So somebody's going to have a big job of trying to get all those Republicans together.
Absolutely. It's basically like the worst fight your family ever had, only on national television, that we'll see at the convention if you know, no one gets the number of votes that they need.
What's going to happen?
Well, you know, again, people should the Republicans should cross their fingers and hope that they actually have a nominee before the convention, because what this would look like is ugly. And don't forget, these delegates, even the ones pledged to Donald Trump, not only don't have to support him on a second ballot, they don't have to support him on any of the rules fights or on any of the credentials challenges or any of these other things. This party can rewrite its own rules on the spot in the convention.
This convention could last weeks, I think. Anyway, both of you, don't go away.